You're listening to the C1D Paintball podcast.
Hey there, Andrew. C1D Paintball podcast. Nothing happened before we started this on the audio. Nothing funny, bizarre, or possibly angering, because we're all fun paintballers. We're rec ballers. Who are we? We're C1D, and in particular, there we go. The three gentlemen that I have with me. Always pleased to have them on the show. First of all, no particular order. Actually, no. On my screen, I go left to right because that's how I am. If I was reading manga, it would be the other way, and I'd be going on the back page. But on the front page, we got Mike.
Hello, fellow paintballers.
We have Connor, who's next to him, when in fact, in reality, he's next to me in the same house. It is his mother's house. Technically, he lives in his mom's basement.
Not technicality, it's more of a fact. But yeah, hey guys, what's up?
And someone who wishes he was rent-free in his mother's basement is Jeff.
No. I'm probably rent-free in my wife's attic.
In your wife's attic? Oh, okay. No euphemism there. Yeah. This is the C1D Paintball podcast. Thank you for listening, whether you're listening on Spotify or watching the YouTube version. I've got a desk in front of me right now, so those of you on Spotify don't know that I'm tidying up because I realized now on YouTube I can't stand up and show off my very nice pajamas, just like Connor. Oh, and Connor likes to sleep natural. It's just the way God made him. And besides...
Not wearing my pajamas, but okay.
Okay.
It's a shirt I bought just a few days ago, but okay.
I'll tell you about what's your pants. See, I've already flown off. Was it the...
Yeah, because I'm going to wear my dress pants I wear to work.
You wear dress pants to work?
Where's your tux?
Yeah.
Where's your tuxedo?
Oh my God, I don't...
You know what I mean? Not like suit pants, but you know, my like good-looking pants, but...
all the pants you wear are good-looking.
Right.
Good-looking.
Isn't that what people did on Zoom during the pandemic? They wore like a dress shirt with a tie, but then they had their boxers on, like, so...
Yeah, actually, that is true. Yes, this is exciting paintball chat. We're episode 10. I think we're coming up to a whole 25 episodes. Whoopee. Right now, I'm just happy to wake up every day. I figure set the bar low. We're here to talk about two things. This podcast. I want to say tonight. Oh, see, I blew it. I'm not supposed to say tonight. We had a game day on Saturday. It was like a game evening. And we also had a poll where we had 20 people respond, which honestly is pretty good for paintball. But let's talk about the game day. And I'll ask comments from Mike, Connor, and Jeff. Now, it was kind of an evening of paintball. We got there around 4:30. You know, by the time we started, around 5:30. And when it got late, it started to get dark, what, about 8 o'clock or so, guys? What would you say?
Yep, 7:45, I'd say.
Yeah, about then.
I mean, they're talking about night games, but I got to be honest. I had a lot of fun, but we didn't play a lot of games because we kind of condensed it. Plus, I think, you know, I'm used to being there in the morning, so get a little tired. Different vibe to the day. It was nice. We had 16 or 17 of us, and we tried a couple of mini big games on top, which were fun after some warm-up games. Then we kind of split into two, so we had some pretty good players there that were using some box mags and even some first strike. And when they wanted to use those, they went downstairs on the other field when it was getting a little dark, so the lights were on, so they did that. And we, all of us here in the podcast actually stayed up. We... what did we do again? We did foosball. We did...
Foosball.
Yeah. Oh, geez. We actually played on the Forgotten map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugly Duckling.
The Ugly Duckling. Almost didn't say that. That's good about the polls, and I'm not going to say too much. We played on Tireball a bit, and we just had fun. We experimented on the foosball, too, which was nice. And I actually, here's something for Mike and Jeff, because they played it for the first time. First of all, I enjoyed that Connor kind of did that thing with the second ref where he would stand where the flag was. And if it did move for whatever, 30 seconds or a minute, he just kind of throws it to the other side. I had an idea we could try. We'll change it from foosball. We'll add a rugby element. When it gets thrown on your side, if all your team has to be behind the ball towards your spawn. You can only advance up as far as the ball. So you can kind of push the other team back. That'll either go really bad or really well. Comments, ideas? Jeff, you look skeptical.
Yeah, but in rugby, you can only pass behind, so technically you have to turn around and throw it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was nice having Jeff and Connor on the show tonight, so it's just me and Mike.
I know what you mean, though, because I went in to throw the ball back, and I think every single time I chucked it back, Mike, Miranda, and T would just hold the line, then Trent would run back, immediately throw it back, whatever.
We'll perfect it.
We kind of had that. We kind of had that down packed.
What did you think, Jeff? That was your first time trying that game type.
It was the first time out on the field this year. I was really rusty. It seemed fun. I was using the Piranha for the first time, so I was still learning how to use that gun properly. But it showed promise. It was fun. I was more concentrated on trying to master a pump as opposed to playing the actual game. So, but it was fun. I didn't feel any way overrun, or it was fun. It was a new thing, and it was fun.
Now, for those wondering about the Piranha, that is the thumbnail for this episode. He's holding it. It's called Bloop because valued member Thomas, he said it sounded like a bloop, and sure as shit. Oh no, explicit rating inbound. It bloops. And it was nice to be on Tireball, although it's not nice to have me being the last guy on a 3v1 and Michelangelo's on the other team. But,
Ooh, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So I like the morning starts. We get more to it, but it's nice ambiance at night. And when the sun starts going down a little bit later, we'll have more night events like that. But the next event will be May 17th, a regular AM game. Now, I'm really excited about this because Connor and I like to, mix things up. Different people do different things. Mike is excellent at videos. He does a lot of great. He just recently dipped into photography for us. If you see a C1D Air Force video and the drone is actually flying and it flying properly, it's because Mike's in control. If it's going everywhere else, yes, it's me. Yeah, you blame it on me? Good. I was going to blame it on you, but you beat me to it.
I'm 0 for 0 with drone crashes because I've never flown one. So, but that way, a clean record.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
asked you, and you said no. You didn't want to crash it.
Yeah, no. Hey, you can't crash it if you never fly it. So
that's right.
It's true. Very true.
Well, so me and Connor, that point was like we've done polls in the past and all that. And we said, well, let's have a fun one to do with the spawns at Warzone Paintball, like on the field. Some spawns have more than the others. And I thought it would kind of, maybe be a throwaway thing. But as I mentioned before, 20 people responded. Now, before we dive into it, some people didn't play certain spawn setups because there's some lesser known spawns in certain fields. But 20 people contributed. I'm looking here, for instance, base, there's 4 different configurations. On the main 2020, the other one's 16. So a good variety. And there's 2 ways we're going to analyze this. And I thank Connor for this. It's actually, I guess you got a lot of these little techniques and ideas from your university studies. So, it's I guess I paid for this, kind of. You see, the 2 things, it's like, we compare 2 spawns in a field. Which one is the stronger one? And there's also a third option. Is it neutral? Is it equal? And also, there was the rating. So we'll talk about which spawns got more votes or first. But then there's the actual rating. How would you describe the rating again, Connor? It's the fair rating, right? So,
yeah. So there's a linear scale. And so everybody had to rank each configuration, is what we called it. So like how you can play base, top down, or left, right. So those are 2 different configurations, the same map. And so each player had to rank each configuration on that linear scale from 1 to 5, where 5 meant that basically each spawn was balanced so that the map, you felt like regardless of which side you started on, that it was like a 50-50 chance of who was going to win. Then the 1 would be like the complete opposite, where you felt like it was unfair, that you didn't stand a chance almost, that it's like you're the Allies in World War II going up the beach of Normandy. Or it's like you're against crazy odds. And just for reference, to a 4 on that scale would be like sort of balanced. A 3 would be, one side has maybe an advantage over the other. 2, you feel it's unfair. And once again, 1 is that like, typically it's like, wow, I kind of don't even want to maybe play. It's like, so like whatever,
so
lopsided, but yeah.
So we'll do the ratings first, we'll do the ratings last, like from top to bottom, from bottom to top, actually, on which ones we felt were more balanced. And again, I thought, this will be okay to look at, but really, we actually did a little preview of it before, talking to Mike and Jeff on the last podcast. We did some preliminary numbers we saw before they're finalized, and we could have recorded the damn podcast there because we just all got into it. So what I'll do is I'll just read some of these and get the comments from you guys, and we'll start on the first field when you go to Warzone. When you walk there, the big screen, it is the base field. And first we'll go with the basic east to west spawn. On the west side, there's what we call the in-mid buildings, and on the right side, there is containers. Now, this one, out of the 20, it broke down to 13, 6, and 1. 6 people said it was even. So we got 13 and 1 for those that picked a side. Overwhelmingly, admin, 13 votes, 65%, 30% neutral. 1 person, 5%, chose containers. Now, I'll read the comments, and then I want you 3 to talk. So I'll kind of like host this show. I'm going to do the comment first by the person who said that it actually was was containers. And to his credit, he hasn't. You know what? It's Trent. I'll just say it. It's Trent. He's just played there this year, but I value his opinion. If we were allowed 2 floors, because the idea, that's something else, Connor, is you're playing, the setup is it's just a team deathmatch. We're not doing any special rules in that. Yeah. So he goes.
That assumption, that and that the teams are like fair. So there's no team of speedballers against team of pumps or whatever. So
okay. Oh, by the way, on our last game night, those 2 games in the forest, especially the first one, the random teams were selected, and the team with me on it that was very outgunned. We won the damn game. But that's all I'll mention about that, right, Mike? Oh, Jeff and Connor were on that other team. Damn. Look at the look on Jeff's face right now. Okay,
but I said in person, we're all aim, no brain on our team.
You pinned 3 of us down in the corner, but that's for another day. We'll give them that, Mike, right? We were very concerned about Jeff in the corner. Okay, so Trent mentioned if we're allowed 2 floors, East Spawn can camp very well easily inside the second floor container. He's talking about the container side. Only way to make it, only one way makes it lopsided. If we disallow 2 floors, he says it's equal. So he feels when it's 2 floors container, that second floor makes it OP. There's, I was going to say, you guys know the difference between the ramps and that. I want you to comment on it. Okay, the other comments. I feel the changes made, because there's been lots of changes to it, though I think it's far more balanced. They need to add more cover to the north on the container side, was Connor. I mentioned the road makes the east spawn harder, which is basically what Connor said, but he specified the north of it. Thomas mentioned, and Min has better options at the start of the match. Killhit said, they need more obstacles in the center, but yes, I know, the truck needs to pass. Yeah, to go up to the top of the field, that's that road Connor and I mentioned. And the last comment is never played with the second floor on the new container side. That's Alex, who's actually joined our
Neither have
team
I.
in 2018. Yeah, exactly. So he's not going to really, although he picked admin, he hasn't played with the second floor on the other side. So first of all, I'll go in reverse for this one. Jeff, what are your thoughts on the result where 13 out of 20 said admin, 6 said equal, and 1 crazy guy selected containers? What do you think about that?
Well, I was looking at the people who ranked it, and I know most of their playing styles. So the more aggressive, if not balls to the wall kind of players, usually put equal, or they're not bothered by either, because you have to. It's West admin is only an advantage if you want to camp or you want to stay back. If you, regardless which side you're starting on, you start on admin. You start under the arch. You can move into the middle of the field. You start from containers. You either go through the opening or through the door through the bunkhouse. You get straight into the center, and then you get close to combat and whatnot. And it's all about how you want to play. If you want to start slower and have a better cover, maybe admin. But if you really want to play the game to eliminate the other team in deathmatch, both sides have equal opportunity to get to the middle. And once you get that at middle, you have better coverage. You can take out everyone on the second floor, if it's in containers or an admin building. You and I were upstairs during the last night game back in the fall, and with the lighting, there's no real advantage upstairs. You're pretty much on equal footing with that admin on the other side on the second floor. The paint comes in from down below, and the paint comes in from across. It's just keeping your head down and picking your shots. So there's no real advantage on either side for that. It's like I said, everyone who gave it an equal footing are much more aggressive, and I would say probably longer experienced players, I guess, who have a more of a frontline approach to how they play.
Well, for the record, Jeff, as you might have guessed, he selected equal and he gave it a 5, so the most balance available. Now we're going to save room for other people to talk here, Jeff. Connor, how do you...
Should have played the music, I guess, is what you're saying for Jeff.
Womp, womp, womp. Oh yeah, we're walking him off the stage. I'm gonna point to the imaginary watch here. Yeah, or for those on Spotify, I'll just do tick 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 in my mic here. Connor, your 90 seconds is going rather. I didn't set the rules.
I put admin as being stronger, even though personally I'd rather play on the container side. But no, I think Jeff nailed it pretty well, as the admin side has more options what to go to, and you can really hunker down on that side compared to the container side, where I feel like you have to run up or else you're kind of stuck crossing the road later into the game. So I think it's a pretty balanced map, but I think once again that the admin has like a slight advantage to it.
Connor gave that a 4 out of 5, so almost totally balanced, but he justified why he chose admin and with the 4, so a slight nod to admin. Mr. Mike, who will get to start the next one, but you're the last. I was saying,
one. There's not much left to say. I agree. I picked admin myself. I just think that there's more options for obstacles, obviously. And when I spawn, this is all play style, but when I spawn on container side, I always get stuck on the northeast container when I'm trying to cross the road, or I get stuck crossing the road on the southeast. I just and when I play on the other side, I can lock down those both sides easily. So that's just the way I look at it. And obviously admin having 2 entrances to go up and down stairs helps. Because if someone's coming up the other one, you can run across the bridge and kind of escape out, or wait for them to come through the bridge. I just think it slightly has, a better advantage. So.
Well, you did rank it like Connor as far as the fair scale as a 4. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Mike, because I alluded to something before I let you guys comment that admin side has 2 stairs to go up, and there's 3 different doorways to get to those stairs. And while the admin is kind of behind and hidden from the other side, there's only one set of stairs going up. I think they're going to work on a second set, by the way, this summer. But
On the container side.
yeah, on the container side, it's only got the one. So if you can get behind their spawn, you pin them in there. But I don't want to be the poor son of a bitch running up those stairs to take them out. Let me tell you that. Okay, we got a few of these.
Yeah, coming around that corner.
Yeah. Okay.
On the admin side, all your entrances, if you get all your entrances on the admin side are exposed.
Well, there's
If
a
you get
top
someone on
one.
the northeast side, pardon?
The top one. The top section, there's that doorway coming in. You can kind of run from the
by the
barrels
drums, yeah.
in the
Yeah.
northeast.
Okay.
There is a door there, but it can if
I
somebody's
know
on.
but if someone coming in from the northeast gets to the truck, or at least to the
Oh, yeah.
toolboxes, that door's covered. So if you're cutting
Yeah.
across from the bunkhouse, you have a lineup. You get to the bill box, you have a lineup on that entrance.
Exactly right. Okay, we're going to push this on to north-south. Otherwise, this is going to be like a 4-hour podcast, which I think we could all do, by the way.
I think
It's
that's
called passion. It's called passion, guys. Okay, so the north-south. The assumption here as well is we didn't say whether the road is in play or not, so it's just using north and south. For north-south, there were 20 votes again, and we had 50%, 35%, and 15%. The spawn points were sandbags in the south, and the north was container bridge. Coming out on top is sandbags with 10, so that's your 50%. Next was equal, 35%. So 3 people said container bridge. So those who chose one way or the other, 10-3 on that one. The comments on that, we had a comment from Nick who said more cover. He selected sandbags, so he says there's more cover. There is more cover there. I agree with that. North Spawn has easier time to get in the admin building, and that's why I wanted to move that on, Jeff, is that was my comment, and that one door north, like you said, if somebody runs to the trucks, but in the question like this game type, I think that has a little bit of an advantage. Jeff said sandbags break out to the right has better cover. Very important. He's right, towards the container side. And reach the shooting lanes that run parallel to the containers in the road. That's actually an excellent point. Kill Hit, who chose equal, said north is closer to the doors for second floor, but it's pretty fair spawn. And Alex says, I remember north being more cramped to get out from. If IIRC, that's what your kids say, if I recall correctly. So nice for him to chime in. All right, Mike, your thoughts on north-south?
It's my favorite one to play there, whether we have the road or not. I like playing with both sides, just to be honest, but I chose sandbags. I just think there's more cover, there's more lanes to go through. It's just pretty straightforward. I don't really have much to go on here.
Well, you did choose a 4. You did choose a 4, so fairly equal, safe to say. Mr. Connor.
For this, I went with sandbags. Really, because I do feel like that container bridge, while they do have access to the building, to the administration a lot quicker, is, I don't know, I feel like it's just very congested up top, even though there's less cover. Like, there's way more, like, huge stuff to get around. Like, there's the giant truck that's a huge obstacle, and there's that giant weird triangle wedge that you're behind that's way more difficult to get around compared to the sandbags that it's really easy to duck under. So I prefer getting spawning in at bottom side.
And
to be fair, I've only played it at night time every time, so I've never played it during the day.
Oh, really?
So that might be part of it too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, night does change a lot. Connor gave that a 3. So Connor gave that a 3. Mr. Jeff.
Like I said before, it's sandbags. I prefer the bottom. It gives you. Okay, it opens up the shooting lanes between. If you pull to the right, you got the two shooting lanes on either side of the containers on the road. Go to the left, you can get a pretty good clean shooting lane up between admin and the vehicles, and you actually can get a quick run around to and move up on behind the admin building. So you have it's a kill zone for both sides. Whoever gets there first can cover it, and then move up and capture the middle, and then work from there.
All right, you gave that a 4, Jeff. We'll say all the averages after. That's the big reveal at the end. A stat that Connor added kind of late in the process, and it's like I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. All right, diagonal. And this is one where we go down where only 16 people answer because it's not played. We don't play it too often. So there is the choices for this is obviously there's always equal, there's always neutral. So the two choices on which one is more OP or which one's better, gas pumps, which is in the bottom right corner. So that would be the southwest. And in the northeast, it is top container. And I'll be honest, this blew my mind. This one. First of all, we had, out of the 16 responses, the most popular response was 7, then it was 5, then it was 4, which might have been one of our most even split between the three, Connor. Might have to analyze that after. 7 people, 43.75% said it's equal. 5%, 31.25, said gas pumps. And did I say 5%? 5 people at 31.25%. I'm not sure what I said, but one of those was correct. Top container had 4, so compared to 5 at 25%. I'll read the comments, and this one just kind of, it surprised me. All right, so I said gas pumps. Fairly close, but I'll give a slight advantage to pumps. And even though I was surprised that it was fairly close, I just thought more people would say pumps. Thomas said he picked gas pumps, while both teams will try to rush the neutral corners. Yeah, the opposite corners where you start. Top container has little bunkers. Jeff, advantage goes to whoever gets into the middle and locks it down first. And Norm, good to see Norm chime in, same situation as East-West if allowed second floor. If not, pretty balanced. He actually said top container, so he was one of the 4 that said it with me. Jeff, would you like to comment about this before? Right, not before, now. If you did before, we'd be moving on to Connor.
I've only played the diagonal with the gas pumps once. And that's basically how I would play it. You get to the middle, and that way you can cook off what you can. There's nothing really else I can add because, like I said, I only played 2 games, one on either side, and that's what I remember most from it and what I did.
Well, you did 5, so you did the most balanced. Connor, your commentos for those Spanish people who I've offended now.
Top container is better. Out of the 4 configurations for base, I feel like this is personally, this is easily the most unfair. That I feel like that top container side is just so much better. That they have way less to run around to get across the streets onto the other side, but also they can just cross their container and just watch the way so that the gas pump side never crosses the road entirely. So I feel like you get just so much more map control without even really having to move at all. Because gas pumps spawn so far back into the map, basically. So I'm always happy when I'm on the container side. Whether I'm running in or staying on my side, I feel like it's an advantage to all kinds of players.
Connor gave it a 3, Thanks. By the way. Mr. Mike.
I'm kind of just the complete opposite of that, but I mean, I see where you're getting to, and I think you just play a little more aggressive than I do as far as getting across that road.
Excellent.
Because I always have a problem when I'm on top container and I try running west, to get over by the truck. I'm already locked down by someone at gas pumps or the farthest south building. I just have a really hard time. So me personally, am always forced to go behind the east original spawn, and it just turns into one of those games for me again. So with gas pumps, I can run straight down the back way quicker than top containers can run down the back of theirs, I think, personally. I can lock down that whole top left corner. I can get into the top of admin like super fast from gas pumps. So if we're playing second floor, it's like I can have that entire field locked down, because if I get on that west side of admin, you can watch the bottom right and where they spawned, and you can let anyone know if they're crossing the street, unless they're you and they're running like before I get up there. But I personally, with my play style, think I don't know why I put 4 for a lot of it. It might have messed up some of the stuff, but I was gonna explain on here why. But I think it's just a little better down there. But again, it's all play style based. So
yeah. I'll tell you
I'm
one
not
thing. You nailed it on the head. Connor loves it, and you could kind of tell. Well, if you know Connor, when he was talking, he was being polite, that he's fairly adamant, because fast, aggressive players like him up there. Nick likes to run around that field. Him up there, he'll go across right away. And so not a big surprise it's so close. As a matter of fact, the equal winning it at 7, I think, is probably a good representation going on that fact, Mike, that it probably boils down to play style. But you are kind of backed in the corner on the other one. But sometimes, like me, I feel safe when my back isn't exposed. But anyway. All right, so the last one for base, and this one is a shocker, because I thought if any of them is going to be unanimous, I know that they were all going to have equal in something, but if one spawn got shut out, I thought for sure it would be this one. So we're talking about Diagonal 2, which one spawn is in the northwest, top left, if you're looking at the map, which is drums. The other spawn is the bottom right, almost the safe area in the field, the bottom containers, the right containers. So, southeast. I'm sitting here with this imaginary map, just my fingers pointing in the air. 16 votes, of course. The vast majority, 56.25%, 9 people out of 16 voted for equal. 6 people, 37.5, picked one spawn, and one person at 6.25%. Rocking the boat again, the only person who selected bottom container, Trent, man. We're going to have to put Trent there the next time we go out and see how he does on that. Equal.
It's 10v1.
Wins, 10v1. He won't like any spawns at that point. Drums wins 6-1. But I was surprised, but he is new this year, but he's played some there. Okay, so the comments, we got 3 comments about this one. I said drums can dominate the game as long as the team spawning there uses their heads. You know what? That's kind of a redundant statement by me, because even if you have the best spawn on the field, if you don't use your heads and just, don't plan out, you can lose. But honestly, that one, you can still be half brain dead and I think win from that spawn. Sorry, Trent, I'm not saying you're half brain dead. We know you're more like 3/4. It's because the asshole that got me twice in the neck, 2 game things in a row. He didn't get me last week. You know why? Because he was on my team. Thomas said, drums has the better sprint to the gas tank corner. Ooh. That's kind of close. 100%. Yeah, it's a bit close. It's a bit close, but yeah.
Well, no, they're
protected. It's protected.
It's a straight sprint, but if you're from the bottom containers, you still have to angle around the sandbags for the 2 huts in the sandbag. You still have to angle, so it's not a straight line from the bottom container. You still have to angle towards the mesh,
and you have people
and then loop around
the whole time.
Okay,
and then get shot.
And the last one, still same as previous answer, Trent. That because he's making me go back. Oh, if he says it depends whether there's 2 floors that really influence him. So that's a fair statement, because if you think about it, if you're on the bottom right containers, you can run in the back and get to that second floor. So that's actually a fair statement. Okay, how do we do this? Jeff. Okay, Mike, you are Mike's the first up on this one. So what do you think of that drums versus the bottom container?
voting a 4 on this one, I think would be my most honest number rating, because I think it is, it's close to equal. But I favor the drum side because, again, play style. I favor admin. I agree with Thomas. I get down to that gas tank quicker, but also this might be disagreeable as well. But I think I can get across the road and hit somebody coming up that alleyway before they get to that northeast corner. So basically, you can get both the top right and down quicker than the other people. I just think it's just a little more open to get to those areas quicker, which are the main hold down spots on the map, I think.
Connor, I just realized we're using like the serpentine draft. If you were doing a hockey pool, you're always going to be in the middle.
No, I mean, for this I put drums as well. It's kind of reiterating what I said for the last map of like playing it the other way diagonally, that I feel like drums has a better way of maybe, despite spawning further back from the road, I feel like they having access to the middle of the main part of the field where the grass is that they can really cut off that rotation early and pin them down behind the sandbag spawn. And, I think this is a side that if they sneak in on the bottom, they don't really get access to much. And so they're kind of really just stuck with the right side of the map still. But they can still get some stuff done. And so I don't think it's unfair. I think it's just kind of slight advantage to the north side.
Jeff, you got the last word on the last situation here for base to start off this review of the spawns. What an introduction.
I put equal, I believe. It comes down to play. I'm basing everything on what the most I can do and what average team you'd have from C1D. I'm flipping back to the 1v1 and how well everyone did, and you actually saw everyone's skill sets. I think coming from the bottom container, you can actually put a wedge going into the middle. So even if you get one or two guys who are fast enough to make it down, Connor, down to the gas pumps, you can sort of split the two sides and keep. If you make it to gas pumps, you're going to be, and then we get to the middle, you're going to be staying at the gas pump. You won't be moving out of there. Then you send the rest of your team, have one guy running the road, controlling the road of containers, and the rest will move in and either take out gas pumps or take care of whoever's on the upper top container. So it's partly strategy. It's not just you can get them down there, but how fast can you get down there before you have someone like Mikey or someone who actually is able to get. You don't even have to meet them at gas pumps. You have to get to a point where you have a line of sight on the gas pumps, and you can take them out. So it's that's why I say it's equal, because it all depends on who you're playing with and who you send where first. So that's why I say it's equal. So that's just how I feel about it. It's like I saw what we can do, what we did at D-Day, what we did on 1v1, and all these are perfectly logical plans of attack, but we all play against each other. We know our fastest guy can be Connor, and Nevin will probably run it down. So you have to watch their aggression.
Gene.
So you send Mikey after them.
Gene is so damn fast. We can't forget about that guy. He's so fast we forget about him.
Yeah. And that's in strike. So
about him.
Yeah.
What can I say?
But so that's why it's equal, because it both have solid defense and both have a solid. Like you send Gene up the back of the containers, and he's already at the top of the containers on the upper north container, and he'll clean out the top container on the right hand side. It's like I said, it's whom do you send where. It's whoever you have and how you use them that will decide the game. Like that type of setup doesn't really matter.
So I forgot to mention what everybody said Jeff, you rated it as a 5,
97?
so the most fair. Most fair. Connor gave it a 4, and Mike indeed gave it a 4. By the way, I always forget we talk about fast people, and I hear it every time somebody joins and they play with us a few times, and they say, man, Thomas is fast. We forget about him. He's a fast player. He's deceptive with that. But then again, for me and Jeff, everybody's fast. Not an insult, Jeff. Hey, a lot of the guys our age are not out on the field. They're not.
I can shoot, though.
Yes, you can. And every once in a while I can. But that's about it. Okay, we're going to move to market. This one's going to go a lot quicker because there's only 2 spawns. There's actually 2 more they built, but they aren't active yet. And that'll be interesting, to be honest, because that field has... Think of where that field was a year ago right now. It was drastically different than what it is now. It had 3 different really revamps over last year. So this one is straightforward. There's the north spawn, which is, we call it White House. There used to be a White House there. They took it down, but it's kind of like an inside joke. It's the White House. And the one on the south is the bunker, although they both are effectively bunkers. And all 20 people chimed in on this one. And easily, absolutely easily, the field that the most games are played on. And it's funny because I mentioned it's just north-south. The new spawns are going to be northeast-southwest. There is no real option of playing east-west on this. So the new spawns are going to be a slight variation on it. So it'll be interesting how that plays. Okay, so of the 20 votes here, there were 10 votes casted for one selection, 9 for another, and 1 for another. The winner.
The one is not Trent.
The one. You're out of the doghouse, Trent.
Yeah, I want to give him a bit of a relief.
Mind you, that's a good example though. He's played with us 4 game days now, 3 or 4 game days there, and he's played that one the most. Yeah, Trent puts the GIF. I'm free, absolutely. Okay, so the winner of this one. Now the last 2 were equal, but on the last 2 we reviewed. But this one, actually, I'm going to take back what I said before about what should have been unanimous. Bunker with 10 out of 20 votes. If you would have told me that 10 out of 20 went to Bunker, I'd say clearly 10 went neutral, but no. 9 went neutral and 1 person selected White House. So I'll read the comments here. Connor mentioned, I won't say what he voted for, a fun map, but I expect to have to bust my ass off if I spawn White House if I want to win. He put that in parentheses. That's actually I don't mind spawning White House, but it is, that it's like, okay, I got to move out of here. I mentioned Bunker has the easiest path to Stonehenge, so can control the center of the map. Thomas, even with the recent changes, the White House players must get away from it to gain ground for a win. Mikey, Bunker has advantage in my honest opinion. And Trent, these are fairly good spawns, although my preference is to be on the Bunker spawn. I like the cover on that side better. So, Jeff, you get to start this one off.
I have to, because I was going off of the last time I played it, which was back in August. Having played it on Saturday, I might have to tweak it a little bit. Put down to a 4, and Bunker has a bit of an advantage. Because if you back up like 5 feet from behind Bunker, you have a clear line to the left to get to the left side of the field and move up. Whereas in White House, they moved a crate over, so you have the boulder, a crate, and you have a broken line to get to the same tape lines on that side of the field. Other than that, everything else is pretty much the same, but you're right, you have to... You can get very easily pinned in the White House if you don't move up right away. Like, you have to get across that the old road that they used to drive across first. You have to get out. You have to get across that to have any chance of winning. You can't sit back and you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go.
Connor,
That's about it.
your thoughts. And by the way, Jeff rated it. Sorry, I forgot. I did at the end, but Jeff did rate it. He rated it 5 as equal, but he just mentioned about probably tweaking that to a 4 because of some excellent points he made there.
For this, I was one of the I guess you could say majority, if it's half, that gave it Bunker the stronger side. I don't know. This is a map I never really like playing, even though it's the one that you play the most at Warzone. Just because of how I feel like it's very unfair. I didn't give it a 1, but I was considering it, and I'm happy I didn't, because I think with the changes they did over the summer, over the winter, since I last played it, have made it more fair to give it a 2, which I did. I mean, I think just starting White House is a death trap, that it's just like hates to stay there. Like, if you're not moving out of there against fair teams, I feel like still the other team they have so much to move up with to get into the middle. It's just pretty way too strong for the bottom team. But yeah. That's it.
Mike.
I voted equal. I put 5. I just really think, if I do agree with a lot of your guys' points, on why, you would think Bunker would be slightly stronger, but I guess it's just like you can compensate and do a few things when you spawn at White House to just make it a little easier. For example, I'm just giving away my move, but half of you guys know it. When I spawn at White House, I go for that little ditch in the rock on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a power spot because I can, there's so many angles that you can see.
They cleaned
For
it up too,
call-outs
eh?
mostly,
They cleaned it up more this year.
Yeah, it's super nice. And so the hardest part really spawning on White House is, obviously crossing the road, but so what I think helped balance it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is this little spot they added on the back side of the safe house, the north or the east side of the safe house, which I think adds a little advantage to that side, which helps balance it out. The problem is getting over there.
Yeah.
Because the first game that we played, which I think was your guys' second warm-up or something, that was my thing, because Nick is always over there, and he's absolutely dominates from over there because nobody sees him. Mm-hmm. And I tried getting over there, and I got taken out before I even got across the road. But it's just, again, player preference. I think it's a pretty balanced map as long as you can get out of it. Once you get across the road, you have pretty equal coverage. But yeah, I guess I should have altered my answer and thought about it a little more. But
No. It goes down to your personal preference, and as a couple of you have mentioned, play style. By the way, that spot you're talking about, the extra add-on there, I refer to it in the videos as the Enclave. It's kind of just this little thing to the side there. So the Enclave makes us sound intelligent, like we paid attention. Paid attention in English class when we were all just smoking by the dumpster. Okay, so we're going to move on to Village, which has 3 different options. And I thought it was cool because at first I thought it was just we do the 2. Now there's 4 with the 4 spawn points here. You can actually do a combination of all of them, but generally it's east-west, which is 1-3, because the spawn points are numbered. We got to give it cooler names, but there's numbers spray painted on it, so yeah. And there's north-south, which is 2-4. The third option is Foursquare, where we play with 4 teams, which we've done once. We really should do that the next game day. That was a lot of fun. So we're going to do the east-west first, and it's played as much as the north-south, but east-west is what it is. I was going to start to make comments about it, but 19 people voted on this one. The winning selection, the most popular selection, had 11, and the other 2 had 4 each. So with 57.89%, spawn point 1. So 21.05, you have spawn point 3 and equal. We have 4 comments here. Connor comment, perfectly balanced as all things should be. Pretty much to the point. Nick wrote high ground. I wrote, if my life was on the line to win a game, it would be spawning 1 against 3. Obviously taking point 1, or I would have said the other way around. Thomas, 3 has an easier to run up to 2 and 4. 2 gives the high ground. That's a fair point. That's a fair point, even though I selected spawn point 1. Nathan, who broke his ankle. I don't know if he's going to be there for D-Day. He wants to be. We'll wheel him around on the wheelchair for a little bit. But Connor, you and Jared have to drag him up the hill because I haven't got the strength for that. Nathan mentioned really hard to get to the left corner. And he said spawn point 1. So I guess he's talking for 3 to get up there. So who's first on this one? Mike, you're first. And yeah.
I chose 3, and if I would have wrote down my comments, I think they would have all matched up with Thomas's, to be honest, because my biggest thing, and definitely on a map like this, and I'll just throw it out there, this is my least favorite map. Not that I don't like playing it, it's just, I have a hard time at all the spawns. But if I had to choose one, 3 against 1, to agree with Thomas, it's you can get to 2 and 4, and my main goal on a team deathmatch or kill confirmed, I guess specifically, or I guess we're going team deathmatch, is to get them to stop them at their spawn before they can even get out or get too far out. So those 2, getting the 2, getting someone to 4, locking them in before they can get too far out, because going from 1 to 2 is like impossible without dying quick. 1 to 4 is pretty hard as well. So I think it's pretty easy to lock someone in the 1 spawn. And then you got the whole team just sitting there wondering, what did they do? And then you just send some flanks around. I just think it's, just slightly better. I think I gave it a 4.
And indeed, sir, you gave it a 4. Connor, your thoughts?
I said that this field was equal because like either side that you spawn on, even though 3 is on a bit of an incline, well, I guess slightly elevated, I mean. So it's a little bit of high ground, not much. But I feel like regardless of which spawn you're spawning on, is that you have 2 big obstacles to your left and right that you can run to that are a short distance away, as well as like 2 long power spots you can get to that are from the left and right, regardless of which side you're spawning on. And so I think it's pretty fair with cover in between, where you can't spawn kill people running out. At least I've never gone shot right away. So I mean, I think it's really fair for that reason, that it's no matter which side, it's like, okay, I have a plan, and I think it's pretty undecided of which team's going to win. It's like, oh god, these guys are going to get up to Stonehenge right away, like on Market. It's like, okay, we have to think about how they're going to counter that. There's no straight power spot that each side's going to have to go to, because there's so many options that are viable, that I feel like every single time you're going in and each team has such a fair shot at winning.
Fair enough. And what number you gave it? You gave it a 5. You gave it the max equality vote. Jeff, your thoughts on the classic East-West 1-3 from Village? I'm giving you these great intros. I'm giving you all kinds of stuff to work with, Jeff.
I got nothing. No. I give it a 5. Pretty much I agree with everything that Connor said. There's no line of sight kill spots. You have to move out of your spawn into the middle of the village, and how you go about that is completely up to your team and their strengths. And it's like, it's fair. You can't, there's no real good camping spot, so it all depends on how your team moves and which way you want to go about it. it's quite easy. It's almost, you can almost try and counterflank one another, and you can almost do a full rotation around the village and not actually see each other right away. Like you don't know if you overshot the other team, like you've gone past where they've gone up to. So it's a lot. It's balanced. I like it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Like I said, everything Connor had said is absolutely right.
It's a very balanced field. And by the way, I just want to make one comment because I'm not commenting about the spawns per se. You knew I was going to get something in somewhere. You guys mentioned about spawn point 1, not being able to access some of the other points. But it is, if I was to say which spawn point is like a fortress, it's like a fortress there. You got the garage next to it. You got the missiles next to it. So if you're going to, I know 2 is difficult to, 2 is not horribly difficult to assault because there's a big flank from 3. But one, yeah, if I had to ask you guys, if you were holed up in one of those things, which one would you want to barricade yourself to? And I would just think it would be one. Neither?
Personally, neither. If you're playing both 1 and 3, it'd be neither. And if you're if you're playing 4 square, it's 1. Because the thing is, well, I won't talk too much about that for when we talk about that configuration specifically, but 1 and 3, if you're spawning 3, you have the green monster that is completely blocking your line of sight to your left. You don't know if people are rotating from 1 to spawn point 4 at the bottom of the hill. Unless you only know that they're there when they're there. The same thing for 1, that you only know that there's people that ran from 3 to 4 once they're right in front of you at garage. So both of these spawns have a blind spot and a long line of sight that they can run down. And so that's why I think it's fair.
Now, a very good point that Thomas brought up that I was going to bring up about this next one. Spawn point 2, which is high ground north, and it is high ground versus spawn point 4 in the south. Thomas mentioned what I was going to say. 4 was, I would bet, they added hay stacks for a Halloween event last year, all around the field. And 4, in my opinion, was the worst spawn, possibly, definitely on Village, let's just say that. But with the hay stacks, it really leveled things up a bit. Everywhere on the field, but it saved what was like, when we'd spawn in 4, it was like, oh shit. But anyway, you guys do the comments on it. I just thought it was very important. And that's for those of you who've never played at the field. That's about the field owners looking and saying, how am I going to make this different? How am I going to make it better? They put these hay bales, which are temporary, so you can move them around and you don't necessarily care. They used it for a zombie event in the fall, and they made that field that much better experimenting, moving these around. Okay, so we had 19 votes as the first one. The winner had 10. Then there was 6 and 3. So 52%, 31%, and 15%. The winner on this one is spawn point 2. Equal was with 10. Equal with 6 was was second with 6, and spawn point 4 had 3. Guys, had we did this a year ago, I think spawn point 4 would have had 0. But anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about that. Comments. Connor, more or less the same. I feel that each side can safely run to the lefts, but also make a run to the right if they're quick enough. Nick wrote high ground, which he's totally right, because that is probably the most lopsided high ground between 2 spawn points in the entire 4 fields they have there. I just reiterated my comments with the haystacks added near 4, totally even. Before this, 2 dominated over 4. So you can see that I voted equal on that one. Thomas, 2 has an easier run to 1 and 3. Yeah, I won't argue that fact. Nathan, except if Team 4 pushes to the right side, most important side. So he picked 2. But if the guys at 4 push the right, take control of 3, he feels that they have an advantage over that. And Alex, spawn 4 was easier to spread out. I don't even think he's even played it with the new setup, but I guess he's kind of right because you can kind of get into the middle of the field. But again, I'm commenting. I apologize. Who started last time? I believe it was Mike. So, Jeff, would you like to start this one off? On 2 versus 4. We've only got 2 more of these after, and then we do the fairness ranking, which, Connor, I'll let you take center stage for that one.
I put 5 for equal. Wait, did I put 5 for it? Hang on. What did I put?
You put 5.
Yeah, okay.
You did put 5, yeah.
Yeah. So, like you said, you can break out either side. You're not immediately trapped in your spawn from the other spawn location. You can move left or right from either side. You have the freedom to move. From 4, you can make it to the green monster, or you can loop around towards 1. Coming down from spawn 2, you can move down to the garage, and you can get someone inside to get a good cover on the field. So it just how fast, and you make sure you have the people in the right place to counter the other team moving. Like you said, because you can't see each other at the start of the game, you got to do a 50-50 chance of which side they're going to try and break out on. So either you split your team to go cover both angles, and one or the other will get overpowered, or you actually might be lucky if they split their team as well. So it works. There's no real advantage. Yeah, there's high ground, but that's only once you get clear of your own spawn and you're at as much risk as anyone else for the range of the distance between the 2 spawns. That's it.
Fair enough. Connor?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with Jeff. I put equal. I think it's more or less the same as the 1 versus 3, except, like you mentioned, you don't see where the other team's running at the start, which I think is a really cool element to it, because you're on the same map, but it's different, obviously. Honestly, to kind of counter what you said before, Dad, with the hay, I feel like even with the hay, I would have said it was equal before. I don't think the hay's done too much to make a side equal, especially on 4. Because I think there's fortress of hay that's just like a weird U where you get stuck inside. And every single time a person's gone into it, it's been like a weird thing where I've talked to them. It's like, yeah, you're trapped in there, right? And they're like, yeah, I got stuck. But I mean, otherwise, I see the hay.
Like a resting spot.
Yeah. Otherwise, I see the hay, like covering runs, like kind of empty stretches, which is good. But I don't think it makes spawn 4 better, and I never felt like spawn 4 was the worst spawn.
Just give my opinion. That's
if anything, I'd say it's probably the second strongest. And no, I totally agree with Jeff that I don't think there's a high ground advantage on this field at all. Is that at our level there definitely is, and I'm not saying that we're professional players, right? But if you're playing rentals, right, and rental v rental, it's probably intimidating. Like, holy cow, they have this huge hill, they're shooting down at us, but it's really not too bad.
Well, guys, we played probably 100 games on it, so if you're going to say who's a professional at that field, you might as well say us. We played it so often, right?
Yeah, no, I guess, but
we're familiar with it.
Yeah, no. But no, it's not like intimidating like when we went to Airsoft at FPS, where it's like, holy cow, we're like in the water and they're like shooting down on us from up top. When I think high ground, I think that like that's like a high ground.
Yeah, third floor tower. Yeah,
sort of unpleasant high ground advantage.
When there's actually elevation on a topographical map, that's
55 acres, you don't know where any of them are because your son told you, hey, you want to go look at the map? No, let's go in it blind. And I listened. It was fun, though. It was fun. Mike and Connor did rank it a 5. Now, Mike did not rank it a 5.
No.
I just have a personal vendetta against... I shouldn't even have voted on this one. I just hate to. I know that it might be more... advantage. There's a lot of buildings you can get to and a lot of cover you can get to right off. You can get to 3 quicker, yada yada yada. I always get stuck no matter where I run to. If I spawn at 4, I just have a better shot. And to be fair, the few times I have played this way, I think I've been stuck in 2 most of the time. But so it's like, say 4 games 3 of them were at 2 and one was at 4, and I did awesome because I was just able to get places better, and I didn't feel stuck. I'd move up to cover, go to the next one, but being at 2, I moved to one of those first 2 main buildings, and then I'm like, I'm just stuck. And then if you stay in spawn, like Connor was going to say earlier, you have the high ground at 2, but you're going to get shot in the feet. There's no way around it. You're going to get shot in the feet. I've gotten shot in the feet 400 times there, and that's what I was saying in the beginning. That's why I do not like spawn 2. I hate it. No matter what game mode, no matter where we're spawning, it's just not an advantage being up there because you're getting shot in the feet the entire time.
When you play with me, what do? I'm going to go to that building right in front. Yeah, I like it when noobs go in there, and I don't mean noobs like brand new, well, brand new players and just people new to the field, and they say, man, we got the height advantage, and it's like, they're going to shoot your feet. You got to get the hell out of here. Then I move up to the building in front of me, I turn around, and the guy hit, and walk out, and he's got a nice shot in the top of his boot. But
you almost have to be behind it to get that second.
The pillars. You got to be behind the pillars.
Yep. And they got that goddamn tree root that's about 6 inches high on the back door to the left. Like please, somebody, like, take a chainsaw and level it out. Okay, so the next one is a unique situation. I mentioned it when we started this little section on this particular field. And it's 4 square. All 4 spawns being used at once. But the question is basically, what is the strongest and what is the weakest? So, interpretation, Connor, would you say the question is directed as all 4 being used at the same game or just in general?
I mean, this is specific to all of them being used at once. Okay. But, I mean, it could also be in general because I think there's a few people that answered it that never played it.
Yeah.
All at once, but I still kept them in.
Oh, so, yeah. Well, we had 16 votes. And what I'll do is I'll say who won the most, the strongest and the weakest, and then you guys can just rally your comments on that. 3 comments. Connor commented, 1 literally feels like you're on an island despite having missiles close to you. You feel quite safe at times. On the other hand, 3, you feel handcuffed. So you can already see which ones he voted for. I made the comment because, I know I'm going to be on the podcast, and if nobody else makes a comment, I comment on everything so I can give us some stuff to use. Again, with haystacks, 4, which was the weakest before, no longer, as 3 is the worst. 1, the best, hands down. I seem very strong on that attitude. And Jeff said 3 is pucked. So it's either, just insert new word, new letter in front of pucked. It also has that river behind 3 in the spring, the thaw. But that's,
at least it's not running through the spawn anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the strongest spawn, 16 people voted. Only 2 spawns got votes. Spawn number 2 was 62% of the vote, so 10 out of the 16. Spawn point 1, the remaining 37. So spawn 2 being the strongest, with spawn 1 being second. The weakest, and this is funny because you'd think if 2 didn't get any votes for strongest, they would be both the weakest, but all 4 maps got votes. So the top out of 16 had 50% of the vote with 8. The second worst with 5, 31%. 1 spawn had 2% at 12, and 1 spawn had 6. So I'm going to count this from bottom up. The least weakest spawn was voted spawn point 1 with 1 vote. Although it was voted only the second strongest, so go figure. Spawn point 2 was the second weakest with 2. Spawn point 3, the third weakest with 5. So the weakest spawn point with 8 was 4. So, Jeff, would you like to start on who you voted for as far as the 4 square here?
The strongest I felt was 2 because you could still, once you start the game, you can get out of your spawn, but you could still have good cover behind it. Your feet are protected, and you got good fire covered on 3 and spawn 1, and you can move someone forward down to the garage to get a better angle on one. So it because you have all the spawns are being occupied, it's the tightest one you can actually move out of and still have cover, and still get your. Like you get two guys on either corner of the back end of two. You can keep the heads down in three. You keep the heads down in one, and you can get your people down to the garage and towards the well, towards the first barriers, barricades to move down. The worst is three, because at the time you had the creek running through it, so you're too busy figuring out where you're stepping or you slide. You're taking fire from two, but you don't know where four is coming from. You don't know if anyone's coming from four around the green monster, and you don't know. Like your biggest threat is 2 and 4, and 4 you're blindsided until someone shows up at the green monster. So you're worrying about 2 coming down at you, and you still don't know what 4 is going to do on your side.
Jeff,
and that's about it.
And you gave that a 4 rating as far as fairness, so the second highest with fair. So
yeah.
Connor.
For the strongest one, I put spawn 1. In the case of when you're playing that multi-team mode, I know that everybody likes to stay back, but I feel like that is like the spawn where it is like the only one that you really should stay back. Because all the other ones, if people are slowly creaking in on you, you're kind of dead almost. Like 2, if you stay up there and you're the last, it's like a 1v1 and they're surrounding you, you're all stuck in spawn, they're going to shoot at you, shooting up to you. 3, you're cornered. 4, you're cornered but not so bad. But 1, it's like there's nothing around you except for one building, and so it just feels like you're so safe there. And so it's really like, if you get that spawn, I feel like that's the only viable strategy, because it's so good to just stay put there. For the weakest, I put 3. I was considering putting 2, but if you do move out quick enough and you get to those 2 buildings in front of you, you set up such a strong perimeter compared to 3 that there's kind of really only the zigzags around you, compared to 4 that has the green monster and possibly the garage. But no, that's a little too far. But no, it's 3, you have the least amount of options, and you have to move, because when you're getting closed in on at the end, it's like the worst to be pinched into, I think. So yeah.
Mike, closing out the discussion on Village, and by the way, Connor selected it a 3. So his fairness rating, obviously a big fan of 0.1 to give it a 3. I gave it a 4. I'm kind of surprised at myself. Mike, what did you give it on the fairness scale? You gave it a 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think yes, sorry. Spawn 1's great, because I think I've only played that game mode once, and I'm sorry if I've played it twice, but I really think it was only once, and I was on Connor's team. And
so
we held
won.
Down. Yeah, I don't even remember, but I remember just holding down 1 so good. Like he said, if that's one of the spawns you want to hold down. Because if you can get 1 or 2 guys over to the right, you don't even need to leave to watch that whole left side to watch 2 come down at you. You can just secure it so well. You don't have to leave the spawn to watch. You have a full shot diagonal, across the entire center of the field. And if you have 1 or 2 guys watching the right side, you have the whole field secured. It's just in my hands, in my eyes, it's hands down the most powerful spawn for sure. If you're playing all 4. And again, I hate 2, so 2's right out of it for me.
You're
4,
very consistent with your hate, Mike.
yeah, I won't even bother with 2. 4, you pretty much got to get to the center of the field, because you got 2 coming at you, you got 1 coming at you. Same with 4. Same with 4. You got to kind of get out as quick as you can. So 1, you can hunker down. Worst case scenario, hunker down, let people come to you, and take them out as they do. I mean, it's just
I remember.
It's too easy.
The reason why I remember that Connor's team won that, and you were on it, is you guys spawned on 4. You bum rushed and took 1, within 20 seconds. And just sat there the rest of the game and just cleaned up. And we did play a second game and they rotated. So you guys started in one. And it's like, well, you guys said this place is nice from the first game and sat there. But yeah, that was.
There are major casualties in that rush, though, to note.
No, I'm
Did
not
not
taking
go
anything away, Connor. I'm really sorry, but there's these little cracks on one.
Yeah.
You can see. And Connor's awesome for laying very useful information through those cracks.
Yeah, it creates really shitty footage, by the way, when I look at his camera because his eye.
My camera's just looking at the
it's
wall.
staring at the wood. Yeah.
Yeah, but I get some useful information, and
No.
and you can just, I don't know.
No, that's something I left out. I was planning to say, but you nailed it with like at one where you don't even have to have a gun up on the left side. As long as you have somebody just looking there through the holes or through the cracks, you can just see when they're coming.
Yeah.
They're so far away from the bit of cover in front of you that you have enough time to pull up your gun. You don't even need to be actually really watching it. You just have to worry about one side. So, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So the last field, it only has 2 spawns, so one discussion before we move to the podium, is tire ball, which I guess it was about a year ago. No, they did it a couple of months. I think it was after D-Day. They reconfigured the field. And even though the 2 spawns, by the way, it's an east-west setup. High ground is on the east. It's shockingly, it's a higher spawn than low ground on the right. The configuration before was maybe not was one of the most unfairest in the whole field, in the whole like complex with all the fields. But the reconfiguration has made it more fair than it was before. But we will let the 19 people who responded give you an idea of what they thought. So before I get into the results, I'll read the comments first. Connor, tougher to say now. It's absolutely not as one-sided as it used to be. Thank you for the affirmation, Connor. Andrew, good field, good even field where before reconfiguration high ground was guaranteed win unless the team spawning there had their head up their ass. Well, I guess that would have been better for me to start off this segment. Thomas, high ground gives better observation at the start. The new setup isn't very good either. So I guess he feels that maybe it didn't go far enough to even it out. But I mean, you'd probably need a backhoe to level the land to do that. Jeff, you have to get out of the low side fast and flank right. Absolutely. The left flank is dead there because of that little tire area. Kill hit. His name will come up again in this discussion. Low ground is better. Cuz, spelt CZ, by the way. It has better obstacles to advance. He might have something with the fact that there is more obstacles there, but when I get behind them, I want to hide. Alex had goated spawned Camp Central and had more places to run. I remember spawning low ground led to more windy cover. More windy cover, I guess?
Yeah, windy cover.
Okay. So those are the comments. Now, as you guessed, I already called out kill hit. 19 votes. I'm a little surprised there were so many equal votes. There was 7 equal votes, but that only represented 37% basically. High ground took 11 votes, low ground 1. Once again, high ground 11, equal 7, low ground 1, and we called out kill hit. But you know what? Kill hit and his style, kill hit fires ropes. He is pretty, I might say close to being a master of suppression. If kill hit's on your side in a game and he's near you and you need suppressive fire and he has that defender, you just tell him where to go. So I think to defend him on this one it does suit his style. Okay, so Mike, your final comments on this individual rating in that. What do you think as far as the high ground versus low ground debate?
Honestly, I think it's pretty equal. It's such a small map. I mean, it's just clash. But if it's like a, I don't know, what would you play 3v3 on it? I remember we had some good games, 4v4s. So the bottom, you have an slight advantage of having the more obstacles. The top, the high ground, you obviously have the advantage of having the high ground. But in this play style, I think in the low ground you have more cover, but what do you do when you get to your first cover? You peek out and you do this and you do that and you try to figure out stuff. You move to the next cover, you do the same thing, you're wasting a lot of time. In order to get out of the high ground, you got to move most likely left, because if you move too far right, you're getting stuck in that little death trap. But if you can go center, go left, you're up already halfway through the field, and those people are still kind of bouncing around their cover trying to figure stuff out. Then you got half the field to just dominate, rush them. I don't know. I've just had much better games spawning up there, but so I just think both sides have their advantages to make them equal, if that makes sense. I don't know.
No, you explained that thoroughly. With the barriers on one side, high ground on the other, they cancel each other out, in your opinion.
Basically, that's what I was trying to say.
And you gave it a 5. So, I mean, fair with that. Now, Connor and Jeff next. The three of us have played dozens of games there. With the good problem C1D has of having so many members is it's, as Mike said, you don't have a lot of people playing on this. So we don't get to play it too often. But I'm wondering if the old configuration, now that it's so much better, might cloud our opinion. But let's go to Connor and what he thinks about that.
Oh,
and I definitely don't think it's
your mic cut out for a second. Your mic cut out. Do you want to go back? I can hear you now.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But you said how it's like clouding people's opinions, and they have like a bit of a bias, I guess, to the old one.
Maybe.
Well, I think it's not a maybe, because this is the only one that there's actually people that gave it a 1. I won't say who, but like some people gave it a 1. None of the other fields were given 1s. And so I'd say arguably before it was definitely a 1, a 3 at the very, very best.
Yes.
Like it was blatantly unfair. But no, for this I gave I gave the advantage to high ground, and I gave it a 3. Though thinking about it, I thought I should have given it a 4, but I think it's a 3 for the reason that I think we saw it recently where even if the teams are roughly equal, that typically somebody starting on the low ground gets picked off immediately, like 2 seconds into the game. And yeah, in a 3v3, losing one person, I guess, seems like such a big deal. But it also maybe not be, because you just kill one person on the other team and it's like, hey, we're even now. But I think that it's only really a balanced field if you put in rules into it where everybody starts at their marker, not just down, but touching the wall behind them. Mm-hmm. And for the 1v1 tournaments, and like we did last time we played
Saturday.
Where we did a grace period too, where if nobody can die within the first 2 seconds, the game lasted like 4 or 5 times longer than when there is no grace period, where the top team dominated. And so the fact that I feel like you have to put rules into it, you can't say it's like totally balanced. My experience, but I haven't played it obviously very much. So I think it's like a 4 if you're adding those rules, but if you're playing it like naturally, like raw dogging it, it's a 3.
I tell you, first of all, interesting analogy. It would have to be an 8 or higher for me to raw dog anyone.
After drinks, you can raw dog anything.
Yeah, that's what tequila's for. But here's the thing to defend, I understand how you said you have to put special rules, but I like that because it makes it different. It's not just a team deathmatch where you just shoot each other. It's, you add the spire, you can't kill anybody for the first 2 seconds. It's unique to that field, and I think it makes it fun. And I understand we did have a comment that it was supposed to be like an emulated speedball field. Thomas mentioned it did emulate a speedball field, but yeah, it's Jeff. I don't want to go too much before we outro on this. I apologize for cutting you on that one. Your final thoughts before we go to the podium on Tireball.
I give it a 4, and like you said, you have to move fast on the low side. But since they're taking out the tractor tires on the high side, it's a little bit more balanced. On the low side, you have a better chance of getting to the cover that you need. Whereas if you're on the high side, you still have to move down to about midfield, but you have these lanes that you're exposed. Like you have to do a zigzag to get from behind your cover down and to the next cover, and that exposes you more. So it's sort of like, even though you have the high ground, you're at a greater risk of exposure. From the first guys who move up on the right flank to get to their first set of barricades, and they can be on the far right of that barricade to actually get a clean shot on you coming down from the upper left-hand side, coming down to midfield. So, like, yes, the high ground has a little bit better vantage point at the beginning, but if you can get out from your spawn on the low side, you can cover the laneways that they actually have to move through to get to the next row of barricades from the high ground. That's it.
I tell you what, you can play 4v4 on any of the 4 currently operating maps at Warzone. But if there's a map for me personally, and I'm going to go on a limb and say maybe some of you at least feel the same way, if there's a game where you got 4-on-4 and somebody gets knocked out on your team and you say, oh shit, it's going to be tires the swing of one person, and then let's say you go get another one and tie it back. Like, if it's 4v4 on market, you lose a guy, it's a bummer. But on Tireball, you lose a person and you feel like, oh man. And if you get them back right away, you go up on a high. That's one of the thrills about. I feel personally about that field.
Sure,
but Tireball moves faster. The swing time is much shorter in Tireball because you have so much confined space to move in. If you lose a guy in market, it'd be a good 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes before you tie it up or you lose another person. Tireball, it's just you have nowhere to go except into each other's face, and then like you can't really camp that much on tires because you got because you have the gaps in the tires in your barricades, you have the gaps in the tires. That one fluky shot will find you, and that's a greater chance of equal.
Yeah, Miranda, there's 3 of us left on her.
My wife.
Yeah, and it's like there's 3 of us, and it's like, I don't want to shoot you. My marker wasn't even working. It's like, well, but she was too proud to say. She just thought maybe she'd barrel tap somebody. Okay, Connor, so we're going to talk about the podium. We talked about the fair rankings, 1 to 5. I'll say, oh, by the way, one of the 2 people that gave Tireball 1 was Norm, who Connor, on his very first game of Tireball, he and Rob got hit within 3 seconds each from a double kill from, oh, damn, that was you. So you've scarred him, clearly. Speaking... So Connor is going to mention here what maps and what configuration in particular. So like if you have base north-south or, whatever, from the least fair to the most fair. So those rankings we gave 1 to 5. I'll say what the numbers represented, and then Connor will take it away as he'll do the countdown. So 1 means very unfair. One side dominates. 2, unfair. 3, one side has a slight advantage. 4, balanced. 5, perfectly balanced, 50-50. It would have been nice had I said that before we started giving the rankings. So
explain that before.
There is editing, but really it's late tonight. So anyway,
okay.
Connor, and you do have one caveat here: is 4 square is here, and there was many more different options. But coincidentally, Connor, what is ranked 9th out of the 9 options?
Okay, well, here for these, you want me to go one at a time, or do I announce them in batches of 3, and each of you guys can talk about one, whether you think it belongs or not?
Well, I think, you know what, why don't you comment on it and just list them all, and then we can all have a round of comments on it.
So that we kind of remember what it is. Well, we can do it in 3 batches.
3 batches, sure.
Okay. So the bottom three, so ranked ninth with a score of 2.94. Well, actually, let me restart. The scores, by the way, is just the average score, okay? It's not a weighted average, so if you were listening before, some of the scores, everybody ranked it, while others might have 19 or 16 votes. All of them are ranked the same, so there's no weighted average. No people have a higher weight than other people, nor is it really standardized. So, yeah, ranked ninth with a score of 2.94 from the village map is 4 square. Ranked 8th place with a score of 3.37 with 19 votes is also from village, which is spawn 2 versus 4, and ranked 7 with just a few point increase of 3.42 is also village of the spawn 1 versus 3 configuration. So village takes all of the least balanced spawns. And so I don't think there's anybody better to talk to this than Mike. Foursquare. Does it deserve to be the worst? The least balanced, you think? Do you think that's deserved?
I believe so. I won't get too much into it, but yeah, I believe so. It's a real tough game mode to play to begin with, and yeah, all the spawns are just pretty tough.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'd say it can be fun, but it's definitely not fair.
I don't agree with the stronger spawn.
Yeah, the strongest spawn. The strongest spawn once again being spawn 2 that people thought, which is
But we're looking at the average
show. I mean,
exactly, just the averages, pretty
just
much.
the average.
It goes to show why I said earlier it supports why I said it's my least favorite map, just because I struggle with the spawns.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
for sure. So then, once again, the 8th ranked 3.37 from village, spawn 2 versus 4. Jeff, is that well deserved? Is that the second? Well, I guess technically the least balanced normal.
Yeah,
map.
with two sides. With two sides, it is officially the least popular, the least fair. Sorry, not necessarily popular.
I would agree.
Is fair. Okay.
Oh, there you go. This may go quicker than I thought than the first hour and a half of the show.
Yeah.
Well, just recapping what we've discussed. It's like
basically the weighted average.
Yeah.
Average, but then after the last of that, the best from the village things, from the village configurations, ranked at 7th with a score of 3.42. Spawn 1 versus 3. Dad, your thoughts on that? You said something about, let me see your comment. You said, if my life was on the line to win a game, it would be spawning 1 versus 3. So I guess you do think it's pretty...
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say something that, so the rankings, everything else averaged 3.5 or higher. Actually, it's 3.6. So the only ones under 3.5 are all the village ones. But 1 versus 3, I ranked it even lower. But no, I'm not. I'm a little surprised it overall was in the bottom third. I'll be honest. But that's just my opinion, we say. And I actually like seeing this because it's interesting to see what everybody thinks. So I am surprised it's there. But yeah, hey, we play as a group. But generally speaking, between the most popular and the least popular, at least fair, sorry, it's only a difference of 1.29. So anyway, yeah, I love numbers. I could talk this all day. So let's go to the Let's go to the middle 3, Connor, with the drum roll.
Quick thing. So cut the Dremel.
Oh shit! Sorry.
So I guess if we're using that scale, that means that 4 square would be considered unfair. Then the other configurations of 1 versus 3, 2 versus 4 are one side has a slight advantage. In case you wanted to think of it in that way.
So for the field owners, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, only one that needs work, I guess, technically. That you can't really change, right?
Yeah.
Since It's a game within
Of a graphical.
game.
Yeah, it's a game that we did. The refs don't even play it. So yeah, normally.
Okay, back on track. 6-4. So in sixth place with a score of 3.6 is our first configuration of base, East versus West. So that's your containers versus admin, the typical way that's played. In fifth place, it is 3.7 score is market, so just the one configuration, playing it from top down. Then
I'm going to comment about that one, okay? I'm going to comment about that one, just reserving that spot.
Okay. Go ahead. Then after, in fourth place, with a score of 3.79, so 0.09 ranking points higher, is Tire Ball. So I guess, Jeff, you can go first. Talking about East-West on base, it was given a score of 3.6, so technically one side has a slight advantage. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they're right. The admin building does have the advantage in the East versus West. Like you have you do have you have better coverage. You can get upstairs quicker from different points, and you can get into the middle of the field a lot quicker than from containers, because you actually have to cross the road. If anyone gets upstairs, they already have a clean shot on you in the road getting across. I was able to get from admin to the middle behind the minivan and start taking shots at your dad on the second story. He wasn't able to get at me yet, and also keep Miranda and Mike pinned in the bunkhouse door. So, yeah, I got a good breakout and I got a good spot, and I had a good coverage of the three key locations you'd get across from container, just from that one spot.
Yeah.
I don't recollect you ever pinning me down, for the record. Okay, so let me interject on fifth, market.
Yeah, market 3.7.
Being ranked fairer than East-West base. I know East-West, they need stuff on the container. There's 2 floors. Like, I'm reading this looking at how, like, people think 2 versus 4 in Village is worse than Market, White House versus the bunker. I'm baffled, and clearly some of the members of this crew have taken too many shots to the head. I am okay. So that's funny, but honestly, I'm really surprised. It is not necessarily, again, the score. I'm looking at where it ranks among all the things. I'm really surprised, and I love this. This is why I love it. You don't know how your crew thinks, and maybe it's why we're so good when we play at big games, is because we have people with different approaches and they help us adapt. Whew. I'm going to be able to sleep after saying that one, blowing off that steam.
If I had to come up with my own ranking, I think markets definitely should be the bottom of the list. Like, if we all came up with our own 1 to 9 rankings.
Yeah.
And so I'm very surprised to see it in the middle as, I guess, the mid, map, where it's smack in the middle. And so I was surprised to see it as well, especially considering what I ranked the other maps. So,
but the thing you might want to take into consideration is gameplay. Like, our market games last a lot longer. It requires a lot more, like, you have a lot more cover you can move from, and it gives you more opportunity to survive longer and get more targets. It's just a slower paced field that allows you time to develop your skill and develop your strategy, as opposed to having to know you have to take these specific parts. Like on base, you have to take standby, you have to take the gas, but you have to take these key points that everyone knows you have to take, whereas on market, like, at first it used to be you have to make it all the way to the Stonehenge to dominate, but you don't. Because you make it a Stonehenge, you can still get flanked on either side. So you have to. It's like it's a slower pace, and you can't, unless you're Connor running up the flank, you can't automatically assume taking certain parts of the field will guarantee you victory. So it's a much slower burn of a field. So people feel like they're playing long. They have more options, and they're not pressed to to
I can see that.
make
I can see that. I can see that. But don't steal my thunder. It's a bullshit ranking.
So, Mike,
either
for you,
something
No,
wrong with
no,
the
no,
math,
Jeff.
or there's something wrong with your opinion.
yeah, I was trying to save my dad. Mike, fourth place, 3.79 tire ball.
Terrible.
Do you think that's fair, looking at kind of where it sits, or do you think it's deserved to be in that upper half of the more balanced maps, kind of approaching the balanced rating, but it's still one side has an advantage?
I would have liked to have seen it a little farther up, but I'm happy because I believe it was the only one I ranked 5. Just so I would have liked to see it just slightly higher up, but I'm glad to see it definitely in the top 5. I definitely agree it being in the top 5.
Sure,
Spawn points,
especially
so
considering the outliers that there was 2 people that gave it a 1 that tanked the score, and so
That's
I wonder
true.
if those people even gave it a 3, if it could be, if it.
a balance. And
Spoiler alert, it's really close to actually getting into third place, so it probably could have gotten third.
It would have. With 2, yeah, 4 more points divided by those numbers, for sure. It would have been in third place.
So yeah, I mean, I think it belongs, right around where it is. So I'm happy with it.
Nice. Okay. And so for these, instead of going into, I guess, a group of 3, we'll just do them one at a time, since it's your medalists. So in third place of a score of 3.85, we have base, north, south. So when you're playing from top container to sandbags. And so if a score of 3.85, it's close to balanced, but people thought that one side had an advantage, a still noticeable advantage. Most people thinking sandbags was better. And so, Jeff, I'll throw this one at you. Do you think it's probably the third most balanced, or what?
I would say so, because there's no one, there's no real true advantage to either side on that one. It's like sandbags is good because if you play the lanes, like I said, it all depends on what strategy you want to use and who you have on your team. Like it's I would say it's almost equal, because it's whatever advantage you think you're getting one way or the other is negligible with whom you have on your team, and how well they know the middle. So I think it's fair. I think it's a good spot for it. That's it.
Silver medal. This is our first one that has a score above 4, meaning that it is like a properly balanced. So in second place of a score of 4.13, base diagonal version 1 is what we called it. So that's from top container to gas pumps, where this is where the stronger spawn was equal, where it had the majority of the votes. And so, Mike, what do you think about that being in the top 2?
I mean, it makes sense. Because I don't know. I don't want to break into the other ones, but it belongs right where it is. I think it's pretty equal. I'm super surprised. I'll go into it at the end. I'm reading the answers here. I'm looking at the spreadsheet here. So I'll let Andrew go with the next one. But it's
we're all itching to talk about the next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, very distracting. How lucky where it is.
and actually, Connor.
Yeah.
For the number 1, I would like to go, but I'd like you to go second, because you did put this together. First of all, I thought number two, I thought for sure it's got to be. That's why I like this discussion. It's got to be pumps. But all the things you guys pointed out, it's like, yes, number 2 and 3 are deserving to be in the top 3. But number 1, it's diagonal with barrels against south containers. And I I would have this. I would have this no higher than sixth or seventh. You know, maybe if I took extra meds in the morning, I might put it. I mean, I put it at 6, but I think it's like 7th or 8th, and it's just it's interesting. Because I said before, I respect what people say, and that's the average. It shows you that you make up your crew. But we have to play more of this game type. Because I think for some people, I'm shocked. Connor, would you like to comment? And then everybody gets to comment on this one. I was blown away. And when you showed me this and told me this, it's like, no, we get more votes. It's like, Dad, there's like 18 people. And it like blew me away at the time. And we only had, we had 16 on this one, but yeah.
You know, because of this one specifically, I was contemplating on the Excel sheet, Google sheet, putting a formula to like calculate all the modes, so like which score was the most common, but it was just going to be too messy, so I had to count manually, and out of the 16 scores, 9 people gave it a 5. So it's like perfectly balanced, which is like the most by far. So more than 50%, which is pretty crazy. And so I think a mix of people giving it that score and other people maybe giving it a 3 or 4. It's like, yeah, it's pretty balanced. I haven't played it too many times, you know. That's why it skyrocketed. It's one that we never really played too much.
Do you think that's why? I don't want to chime in too much, but do you think that's why the numbers
it's for sure
maybe skewed a little bit? Is because
it's definitely skewed, and that's why I made sure to bring it up too before that we're not doing weighted averages.
Right.
Because the scores would be given like a higher value, and so that the lower scores would have more an effect of bringing it down.
Right.
And so overall would have a lower score. Mm-hmm. But I just finished my statistics exam like a week before I started working on this thing, so I wasn't doing more stats for this. But no, I mean, hey, it regardless of making a weighted average, it still got the highest percentages of 5s. So
it won. The most fairest frickin' setup. Mind-boggling.
Well, wait. Yeah. But you have to take in consideration the fact that that this just doesn't necessarily mean it's the fairest. It's what we think would be the fairest, or what we would think we have the least amount of issues in playing that field of that configuration. So if you look at our, like I said, depending on like I said, it's all depending on the team. And as C1D, as we see with D-Day, when we get something in our mind of going, this is a cool idea, I want to see what I can do with this. And because we don't play that often, it's such a non-linear, static kind of, normal kind of a play, that you have a lot more flexibility. Like, we haven't tried this, we could try that. They won't be expecting this. We haven't done it so often that there is an expectation of how it's going to flow. Because they're on the diagonal, and because they're such unorthodox, as seems to blow Andrew's mind, such an unorthodox concept that we thrive on that.
Out of everything else. That's all. I'm be fair. You've made some incredibly valid points, but I'm looking at these. It's the only dog in this race, and these are horses.
Every dog has its dog.
I don't know about.
Oh shit! I set that one up for you, Jeff.
Overplay, right? Overplay. No, like I said, when you watch this, when we play at D-Day, and you see the footage, and you see even on our sprint, we get to the backwoods in like what, 45 seconds to just about a minute between Connor and Jared. It's we don't do things as expected. We never have. So for this to be our most considered fair field to play, because it gives us that much more freedom to do what won't be expected. It's that part of it. It's adversity. It's what can we do with this that's unexpected.
That's a very good point.
And that seems to be the hallmark of our team. Because we have such you have your speedballers, you have your MagFed, you have your experienced players, you have your new players. Yeah, like what's his name? Who went bare chested off the back of a truck? Going, who does that?
Brant? Yeah.
We do. And like we do. Like we come across his CMC in the woods. Who is this? Well, I left it behind with my pistol.
It's one of my guys. What the hell did he leave in the middle of the field on D-Day? You think there's one person that doesn't want a new mag-fed marker lying there? Nobody. You don't play with that. Most of these people, they won't know it's not yours. He came back.
But it came back.
That's because
that's what I mean. It's like,
yeah,
Bear Hill. The push on the last battle. It's like it's we see something, we're going, let's try it this way and see what happens. And people going, where the hell did they come from? And where the hell? Well, where's Bear Hill?
Yeah,
like we've now named.
There is no.
We've now named another field's terrain. Okay, who does that?
We do.
Like now, like, okay, move up access to Bear Hill, and I'm going, where Bear Hill? Oh yeah, we heard about that. We know where Bear Hill is, and the owner's going, we have a Bear Hill? What?
Yeah.
We dubbed the Bear Hill. You know, like it's just the nature of our team and how we play is unorthodox. So this dog beating a horse race, not so surprising.
I've teed up a couple for you today, man. I've teed up a couple for you.
I do want to thank you guys for putting this together because it is kind of cool, and I know it was a lot of extra work.
Thank Connor.
But it is really cool to see the.
About time you give me some credit, Dad. Everybody's talking about it at the game. It's like, Andrew, I did your survey, whatever.
Thanks, Andrew, for putting your time in for this.
Yeah, thanks for putting it together. You did nothing.
On top of making all these videos, you're doing
You made the
this
pictures.
survey.
You made the pictures. For once, I did everything.
I just, it's like Bill Gates. Bill Gates did not make an iPhone. Bill Gates said, I want all my songs on this phone. Make it happen. Yeah. And he did. Somebody else made it. That's Bill Burr. I have to give that credit. But it's true.
I mean, it's cool to shoot the shit about, what map we think is better, what spawns we think are better. Or, when we're about to start the game and we're like, talking to our teammates.
Steve Jobs, yeah.
But, it's cool to see numbers.
At least one of us is awake to notice that. My God.
I want to thank everybody who joined us on the show tonight. Connor, Mike, and Jeff. Once again, Connor, for putting this amazing spreadsheet together. We already got ideas on some future polls. A couple of them pretty straightforward. And I showed one in particular that has a lot of different choices. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. If you've listened this long, you listen to the entire show, seek therapy. Thank you for listening. Why don't you hit that little thing, that reminder, and follow us on YouTube? Not subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify, whatever that is. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you've never been to the field and you lasted 2 hours, I don't take that back. You do need help. You need to maybe get a dog, rent a girlfriend like they offer in Japan.
A hobby. Hobby.
You need a hobby. Renting girlfriends in Japan. The airfare sucks, but you can rent them. Thanks for listening. We do value all the communities. We hope that our crazy little community we have is something that maybe interests you if you're not a part of it. And for those of you who are part of it that like to listen to this, I certainly value whether you're there every time we come out or just once in a while, because it is going out there and having fun. We just talked about almost 2 hours about arbitrary stuff that less than 24 people talked about. And you know what? I had a hell of a time.
No, absolutely. And I appreciate everybody who took the time to answer the spreadsheet. You're thanking me for making the form and setting up the spreadsheet, but it's only possible that we had everybody there willing to take the time and answer it. And we could only have this conversation because of group. So thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right. Go stand in front of the mirror. Tell yourself that you are good, you are worth it, God damn it. And since you're there, brush your teeth, gargle, and get some sleep. Thanks a lot, guys. Remember, at the end of the day, it's just a game.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like us, rate us, and tell everybody about us. Thanks for listening.